Hi, I'm Emily Barge with the Dairy Excellence Foundation. We provide educational programs, activities, and curriculum to students of all ages to help expose them to agriculture and dairy farming in Pennsylvania and beyond, actually. So we're here today to talk a little bit about a unique and fun partnership that all started with when Charlie over here, Dr. Charlie Gardner, decided to write a book. So we're here today to talk a little bit more about that and the programs on the foundation side that it benefits. So I thought we could start by maybe just introducing each of us. Charlie, since you're the author and the brain behind this whole partnership, why don't you introduce yourself and maybe even touch on a little bit of the work you've done in Berks County over the years?
Okay, so I'm Dr. Charlie Gardner. I'm a retired dairy cow veterinarian. The last 10 years of my practice career were in Berks and Lebanon County, so a lot of my work was in Berks County with dairy farmers here in Berks County. The stories in the book that I wrote, some of them came out of Berks County.
That's awesome. Yeah. Brittany, this is Brittany Snyder from the foundation, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm Brittany Snyder, and I am the Dairy Education Program Manager at the Dairy Excellence Foundation. And I get the opportunity to work with our K to 8th grade students and teachers with our Discover Dairy programs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that's really where my passion lies, in that K to 8th grade education. It comes from my background growing up here in the backyard of Berks County in Mooresville on a dairy farm, where I had the opportunity to be a dairy princess and promote to the education, or to the public, and also just grow up on a dairy farm and love cows in the dairy industry.
Awesome. And Michelle, I know you have some strong roots in education, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Michelle Scheer. I'm the Workforce Development Manager for the Foundation, and I have 25 years of education and administrative experience before coming to the center and the foundation. And I just really enjoy working with young people and educators here in Berks County and beyond.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. So to get things started, I thought, Charlie, we could start with you giving us a little bit of the backstory as to what inspired this endeavor. Not everyone can say they wrote a book in their lifetime. So what inspired you to write your book? And I guess we haven't mentioned the title. It's called The Blessed Life of a Cow Doctor. So what inspired it? What's it about?
There were several reasons why I decided to write this book. One of the biggest driving forces was I wanted my grandchildren to kind of know what it was like to be a cow doctor during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, because it was a kind of a different world then than it is today. So I wanted them to be able to know me by reading this book. My oldest grandchild has read it. We've discussed it. The younger ones, I'm hoping, will read it someday. There is the book, The Blessed Life of a Cow Doctor. I love telling stories, and the book is essentially a whole bunch of stories, some from veterinary practice, some from life in general. And I also wanted an opportunity to talk a little bit about my Christian faith, which is important to me, and I'd like my grandchildren to at least know how I thought about things of that nature. So
Yeah. And so how did the Stories for a Cause partnership come about then? I mean, you wrote this book and started sharing it with your community, so how did you decide to, support the foundation with the proceeds from the book? Because that's really how it works, right?
that's how it works. I published a book through Amazon, and it is available on Amazon, but I learned that I can buy author copies at a deeply discounted price. And the sort of light went on, well, if I buy them deeply discounted and I'm allowed by my arrangement with Amazon to do whatever I want to with them, it occurred to me that there was an opportunity here, and I am committed to the dairy industry, and I have worked with these people, and I know that the Dairy Excellence Foundation does good work. So I brainstormed some with our director and said, we could promote these through the foundation, and there's some financial gain that then could be shared. So it's kind of a win-win situation. If someone chooses to make a donation to the foundation, they can get the book cheaper than they get it from Amazon. The foundation gets a nice slice of the proceeds, and I get a little bit of the proceeds, so everybody wins is the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a true partnership, and I like the Stories for a Cause title. I think summarizes it perfectly. So we'll get back into your book a little bit later. I thought we could really dive a little bit into what the Dairy Excellence Foundation does. A lot of people might not be aware of exactly what the foundation does. So Brittany, we'll start with maybe the elementary and middle school level, which are the programs you manage. So there's a lot packed into that. Why don't you just tell us some of the programs and activities that you manage? A lot of them are really exciting. So
Yeah. So at the core of it all, it's just the Discover Dairy program, and that's where our essential lesson plans are for 3rd to 8th grade right now, and it's providing lessons that follow Common Core standards in math, reading, and science while using the dairy concepts to teach those lessons. So it's not giving teachers additional content, it's replacing content they might already have in the classroom to teach the standard things we need to teach in the classroom anyway. So it's a really neat opportunity to talk about dairy, get excited about dairy while still doing basic writing and reading skills. So that's Discover Dairy as a whole. And then within Discover Dairy, there's programs like the Adopt a Cow program, which is a lot of fun. We reach more than 40,000 classes every year with the Adopt a Cow program. And a somewhat smaller program, but very impactful, which is our farm field trip grants that we do. Really impacts a lot of classes to get them on a farm and give them that experience. So some really great opportunities within our consumer ed programming.
yeah, those, and I get to witness those firsthand, and I mean, they're definitely making an impact. And all of those programs are provided at no cost to teachers, correct, through the foundation?
Yes, completely free, and that's completely in part, for donations like our partnership with Charlie with his book, to partners all across the country. Even though we do have a lot of ties here in Berks County with this program, we are nationwide in all 50 states. So we have partners all across the country who are making this program free for everybody.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, you mentioned the Adopt a Cow program, so I think that one's worth diving deeper into. I mean, that's a very popular, fast-growing program. You mentioned 40,000 classrooms. I believe that equates to about over 1 million students it's impacting. So how does the Adopt a Cow program work? What's it all about?
Yeah, so the Adopt a Cow program, honestly, I get really excited about it. The Adopt a Cow program brings the dairy farm into the classroom. The reality is most schools don't have access to a local farm to be able to tour just for resources, or there's just not one within an hour radius, whatever it may be. So the Adopt a Cow program is that next best thing to be able to get that farm into the classroom, let these kids connect with a calf and a local farmer, learn about their dairy farm industry in their state or their region, and build that connection with a real farmer and a real calf while learning how that calf is cared for, the impact that the dairy industry has on our community or our economy. There are so many pieces that go into the Adopt a Cow program that make it a lot of fun, and I love working with it.
Yeah, it's fun to see how excited the kids and the teachers both all get about the program. Mm-hmm. I thought we could play a short clip. It kind of really shows that excitement. It's a video of kids participating in a fun little dance challenge they do at the end of the school year to kind of culminate the Adopt a Cow program. So we'll play that on the screen. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What you know about this brand new style? It's a brand new dance called the Moo Cow. Hands out like this, then dip down. You know what to do now, do the Moo Cow. Moo, moo, do the Moo Cow. Moo, moo, do the Moo Cow. What you know about this brand new style? It's a brand new dance called the Moo Cow. Hands out like this, then dip down. You know what to do now, do the Moo Cow. Moo, moo, do the Moo Cow. Moo, moo, do the Moo Cow. If you wanna be strong and you wanna be built with strong bones and muscles, drink milk. If you wanna be strong and you wanna be filled to the brim with energy, you need milk. If you wanna be strong and you wanna be built with strong bones and muscles, drink milk. If you wanna be strong and you wanna be filled to the brim with energy, you need milk. What you know about this brand new style? It's a brand new dance called the Moo Cow. Hands out like this, then dip down. You know what to do now, do the Moo Cow. Moo, moo, do the Moo Cow.
That's one of my favorite videos. I just thought it was fun
Same.
to show. So another thing that I think is really cool to mention is that the host farm, that's the farm that's adopting their calves to the students in the Adopt a Cow program this year from Pennsylvania, happens to be in Berks County. It's called Zoncroft Dairy, and farmer Katie sends information to her your classrooms about the adopted calves. So what are interactions with farmer Katie like? How do those students get to learn about that Pennsylvania Berks County dairy farm?
Yeah, so any dairy farmer works really hard to take care of their farm and their cows. So the cool part about the Adopt a Cow program is it lets them get involved with thousands of classrooms by just taking some pictures, sharing some information about, how much did they weigh, how much have they grown, what are they eating now, where are they living. So that's kind of like the simple full parts of it, but Katie does a great job at gathering that information. So do our 33 other amazing host farms across the country who do that and send that content to us, and we put it together. Farmer Katie is also just really great at, everyone can send letters through our Contact Your Farmer tool. You can write letters to the farmer, like actually practicing your writing skills. So they'll write letters back and entertain those. And also Farmer Katie goes above and beyond and does TV interviews often, and will just connect with the public and the community. They also have a beef operation, which is pretty exciting. So there's just a really great full story at their farm, all while being full-time farmers. And they're doing this on the side and just really have a passion for connecting with the consumer and the general public. So, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely give a lot of their time to the program.
They
So.
do.
That's great. And speaking of Berks County connections, we actually talked to a Berks County elementary teacher who is using the program this year in her classroom. And she shared a little bit about what she's teaching her students through the program, how excited they are. So Stephanie was happy to share a little interview about how she's using the program that we'll show.
I'm Stephanie Sadison. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Conrad Weiser West, and we love using the Adoptive Cow program. Every morning we usually have a Monday Movalist news, and in that news we use some of the things that Adoptive Cow shares with us about our calf, as well as just the dairy industry in general. In fact, we use the 21.2 pounds of milk makes 1 pound of butter, and so we kind of dove into that a little bit, and hopefully we'll make butter in the classroom as well. The kids are learning how much water the cows drink, and the different dairy products that they have or that they can eat. I think that our students in our rural communities often see cows but don't understand the purpose of them and how it connects to what they are eating. And so I think the program allows us to make that connection for the kids, as well as I think it's exciting for them to learn how a farmer really takes care of their animals. I'm just so super excited. I do know that it's very hard to integrate it into the curriculum because our day is so packed and we don't have time. So it is fun to be able to just introduce it in the morning on Monday mornings, but it's interesting how they take off on it and we catch different things. I have students that come back, I'll see in the hallway, and they'll ask about the calf that they previously had, or who's the new calf this year. So it's kind of fun for them to do that.
Yeah, I want to thank Stephanie for sharing that, because it's nice to hear it directly from a teacher, exactly the impact that it's making. So, Brittany, thank you for giving us just a nice overview of exactly all that you're doing at the elementary and middle school level. And so tell us, why do you get up and do this every day? What's your why? This is such a unique type of job. And
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Stephanie is one of those whys. She's one of many teachers who are just really passionate about wanting to make sure that their students know where their food comes from. It's so important to know and understand what we're buying at the grocery store. But I think that's my deeper why. I know I'm very blessed and thankful to have grown up on a dairy farm and understand where my dairy products and where my food comes from. And most kids now are 3 or 4 generations removed or aren't connected at all. And without your own personal experience with the dairy industry, you don't have the knowledge to make those choices when they get old enough to buy things at the grocery store. And so if you don't know about the industry, you're going to feel flustered at the grocery store and maybe not buy the right things or just feel overwhelmed. But if we can just give them that knowledge and that experience so they can feel confident when they're in the grocery store and they're buying good things for their family, that's key to make sure that they know that all dairy is safe, all dairy is coming from a farm and family that cares, and we can just have a little bit of impact on that. That's what matters.
Yeah, I think your passion definitely is one of the reasons why the programs are so successful. So thank you. We will now transition Michelle we'll now talk about, that's just one piece of the Dairy Excellence Foundation. The workforce development, and then the high school level is another big piece. And I know we work with college students as well. So Michelle, maybe if you can talk a little bit about some of the programs in that upper range of students.
Sure thing, Emily. So I work with the youth development program. So definitely we have a number of programs in the high school and college level. So probably main high school is the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program. And so really the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program is a three-pronged program. We give curriculum, online curriculum, free to our educators to be able to utilize in the class. So we have 4 online courses. The educators are able to see the progress real time of what their students are doing in those. And they're all meant to give them the skills and training that they need to be able to be successful in dairy and give them a little more understanding about it. So these courses are really meant for ag educators, not only in Pennsylvania, but throughout the United States. And so that's what we gear the online curriculum to. The second prong is really those on-farm experiences or those educational experiences. So we try to provide educational experiences to students in Pennsylvania through farm tours and exploration experiences. And then the fourth prong is really our scholarships. So we do have scholarships throughout the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program as well. And so that's all meant in the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program for high school students and ones that are looking to go to college.
Yeah. So this, at the upper level, it's really getting them more immersed in exploring some of the career options available to them. So can you tell us a little bit about those hands-on experiences that you mentioned, the farm tours, the exploration experiences? I know there was one last week. So what does that offer to the high school students that participate in them? Why are they so valuable to actually get out and on a farm, talking directly to farmers?
Sure, Emily. So the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow, we have farm tours. In fact, we had a farm tour in Berks County a few weeks ago, and that's really meant to get the educators and the students out on dairy farms. They usually are able to see 2 dairy farms in Pennsylvania, be able to tour them, to be able to explore various careers. So we also work with the dairy producer to have different personnel that come to the farm and help, like nutritionists, veterinarians, hoof trimmer, milk truck driver, and so on. So we highlight various careers and various skill levels and various educational levels for them to be able to see, as well as being able to see what the farmers do in terms of taking care of their animals, being able to be environmental stewards of the land, and to be able to really highlight that it's not just cows and plows, that there are a lot of careers in the dairy and ag industry for students who are interested in all different interest levels.
That's great. And because of proceeds from Charlie's book and other donors and partners, I know, like you said, we were able to actually have a farm tour in Berks County the other month, which is exciting. So I thought we also had a chance to talk to a Berks County high school teacher who took her students on that tour, and it was a really fun day. So we can show some highlights of that experience.
Hello, my name is Ayla Blatt, and I am a high school agricultural educator and FFA advisor in the Kutztown area school district. Recently, I have heard about the DLT Berks County Farm Tour that my students recently attended, and they had a wonderful experience. I think it's really valuable as an educator. Any out of the classroom experience, hands-on learning that the students get to do is really, really important with our 3-circle model of ag education. And I think it was a perfect tie-in. The students really enjoyed getting to interact with other students from other schools and see the different career options that were available on the dairy farm. Typically, when you think of working with cows, working on a dairy farm, you think that you are the person milking cows all the time. And they really learned from that experience that it's not just that. There's so much more. There's a nutritionist, there's a crop consultant, there's a robot tech. There are people who work with ag communications. So I thought it was a really valuable experience for my students. They really learned a lot. There were a couple of students who, from that experience, because we are so close, we're just right down the road, they're like, oh man, I wonder if I could work with them over the summer, or if they need some extra help milking or working with the robots in the evening. So they were really tying in those local community connections with, is this a potential future career for me? Or is this something where I can have a job that gets me more in the dairy industry and gets me working more hands-on? So that was just something else that I thought of that was really cool that came from the day.
impact in Berks County on some farms, or how they could get experience, so that's great. So Michelle, once students graduate high school, does the foundation continue to offer any opportunities for them once they get to the college level through internships or scholarships or anything like that?
Yes, the foundation does offer other experiences, other programs for them once they have graduated from high school. So we do have on-farm internship programs, and that is where we and 2 other partners, Professional Dairy Managers of Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania Dairymen's Association, help students to be able to go on farms for 10 to 12 weeks in the summertime. And so they're there in the summertime as employees on those dairy farms, both in Pennsylvania and outside of Pennsylvania, really learning what it's like to be on a dairy farm, doing the day in and day out labor, and also caring for the cows, being able to just experience all of that has to offer, working with industry professionals who are coming in and so on. And so we have the on-farm internship program that really gives that to up to 8 students every summer. And so that's one of our programs that we have. And we also have a number of scholarships as well that we offer to students, not only when they're entering college, but also as they're going into college and going through their studies. And that's meant to really help them because, again, we're looking at being able to help that next generation of dairy producers, dairy herd managers, and industry professionals.
Yeah. That's exciting, and I think one of the most exciting parts of those on-farm internships is seeing where the students are when they start and then years later where they end up. A lot of times it really sparks their initial interest. I know, Michelle, you and I had talked about a student named Molly who had originally started at a Berks County dairy farm, Vista Grande farm in the area. She had never set foot on a dairy farm, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about her story briefly?
Sure. Molly was a student in college pursuing veterinary medicine. And at the time, she had the equine experience. So in a large animal setting, equine experience, but not had that dairy background. And so Dave and Phoebe Bittler and their family invited her to be an employee on their farm at Vista Grande outside of Fleetwood. And she was able to experience 10 to 12 weeks on the dairy farm. And as a result, she decided that she really wanted to pursue large animal dairy veterinary. And so she is currently a veterinarian in Wisconsin for dairy.
Yeah, and it all started with that on-farm internship. So yeah, there she is now. That's really exciting. I think stories like that are just, it really shows how they make a lifelong impact on those students. So Michelle, we'll end with the same question we asked Brittany. What is your why? What motivates you to get up and do this every day?
I was in education for 25 years, and I know it's a hard thing. It's definitely difficult for teachers to do that, and I feel that the foundation gives a lot of resources to our educators, especially our agriculture educators throughout Pennsylvania and beyond. And so I really appreciate what I'm able to do in giving those ag educators those resources, not to mention to be able to plan and prepare with the dairy producers here in Berks County and others, other counties in Pennsylvania, to give those experiences like the exploration experience or like the farm tours, so that they can bring their students out and really experience it beyond the classroom. They're able to give them those experiences. And one of those educators that I work with closely is Lori Lefevre from Lancaster County Career and Technical Center, Willow Street campus. She has an ag program there, and she does the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow online curriculum with their students. She does farm tours and exploration experiences, and she's just a great example of the agriculture educators we have here in Pennsylvania and beyond, who care about their students and care about their students being able to learn not only about dairy but in agriculture and the careers that are offered and that they could possibly have in the future.
I'm Lori Lefevre, and I teach 12th grade students at the Lancaster County Career and Technology Center. So my students come from all over the county, And I started using Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow quite a few years ago, and it just made more sense than using our textbook curriculum. Our hands-on experiences are excellent for the students. It's something that we can't do in school. You can't see what a dairy farm actually looks like by sitting in class or watching virtual tours of it. So those are good things to do, but this is actually out on the farm for students to see, smell, and get some hands-on experience as well.
Michelle, I'm glad that you both were able to show just the breadth of everything that's involved with the Dairy Excellence Foundation. And Charlie, like I said, this all really started from, the partnership all started from the book that you decided to write. So I want to circle back and really just give you a chance to share that. And I guess, what types of people have donated and received copies of your books to date? I mean, I know personally there's been some fun gifting that they've done to their students that might be, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it happens that I'm the person who actually sends the books out to whoever, so I see every name, and many of them are former clients, dairymen who I worked with, and some people have reached out to me and said, could I sign a copy of the book, because they want to give it to their son or daughter who's in veterinary school now. And some of them are people I've never heard of. They've actually been all over the country. I think almost every state in the country has ordered a book at one time or another. So sometimes there's a personal connection, sometimes not.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't even realize how many states it had reached so far. So really, what types of stories are included in the book? I had the pleasure of editing it, so I can attest to how funny and insightful and heartwarming some of them are. They kind of range the types of stories. So give people a little snippet of maybe your favorite one or a few they can expect.
My favorite one actually takes too long to tell, so I'll leave that, keep the listeners in suspense. But there's just stories from all stages of my career. Some go all the way back to veterinary college, things that happen in college throughout the career, and one of them is kind of shortly before I retired. So they span the whole gamut. I think some of them are funny, some of them are sad. They didn't all have positive outcomes. That's how it is in veterinary medicine. And some of them were warm and fuzzy. A lot of effort went into saving an animal. I think they were entertaining stories. Emily did edit the book, and she seemed to enjoy them. So that's what I can tell you about the stories.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out, I think, to read. I think it's a good, almost memoir of your life, too. So.
And are you going to tell the listeners how to get a copy?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I can say on behalf of the foundation that we really appreciate the support that we have received to date from the proceeds of Charlie's book, and I want to thank you personally for coming up with the idea. It really is allowing us to reach more students through the programs that you guys are managing day to day. So partnerships like this really make that all happen. So to get a copy of the book, you can simply make a donation on our website. The URL should be on the screen. It's centerfordairyexcellence.org/book donation. It is quite a long URL, so there should be a QR code on the screen, or you can call our office at 717-346-0849, and someone would be happy to help process the donation for you to get a copy. Charlie is pretty quick at getting the books out in the mail to people. But like I said, we appreciate the support, and hopefully a few more Berks County natives might have an interest in reading it. So thank you.